IT governance. It is the first control in the ITGC framework and the one that governs all the others. Let me show you why it matters, through the breach that proves it. May 2021. A ransomware group called DarkSide shuts down the largest fuel pipeline in the United States. Colonial Pipeline carries roughly 45% of the fuel for the entire U.S. East Coast, and it goes dark for 6 days. Colonial pays $4.4 million in ransom. Petrol stations run dry. States declare emergencies. But here is the part that should stop every board in its tracks. The attack was not sophisticated. No zero-day. No genius exploit. The attackers walked in through a single VPN password on a legacy account that no longer needed to exist, with no multi-factor authentication that nobody had ever reviewed. One password. That was the whole thing. But the password was not the real failure. The pipeline itself was never technically compromised. Colonial shut it down out of fear because nobody could say for certain whether the billing system that got breached could be safely isolated from the operational technology running the pipeline. Nobody owned that boundary. That is not a technical gap. That is a governance vacuum, and it turned a contained IT incident into a national crisis. So, what is IT governance? It is board-level accountability. Formal oversight. An IT strategy that is actually aligned to the business. It is the scaffolding that gives every other control a mandate. Without it, your firewall rules might exist, but nobody has defined who owns them, who reviews them, or who gets the call when they fail. Without governance, 4 things happen. IT decisions get made reactively, not strategically. Security spend follows convenience, not risk. Incidents get handled in isolation and never reported upward. And no one actually owns information risk. That is why auditors classify weak IT governance as a material weakness. It undermines the reliability of everything else. At Colonial, the gaps were textbook. No oversight of legacy accounts. No clear ownership of the IT to OT boundary. No cyber risk reporting reaching the board. And policies that existed on paper with nothing to enforce them. For governance failures, one very expensive week. So what does good look like? Board-level accountability, with real IT risk reporting to a risk or audit committee. A documented IT strategy that ties technology to business goals. A recognized framework like COBIT, ISO 27001, or NIST. An IT steering committee that actually meets, with minutes and documented decisions. And a reviewed, approved suite of IT policies. How do you test this as an auditor? You inspect the IT strategy and the policy suite to ensure they are current and cover every material risk. You review committee meeting minutes. You sample the risk reports that reached the board. You map the policies against a framework to find the gaps. And you check that key roles are filled and exceptions are formally approved. Here are 5 lessons to take away. First, start with accountability. Name who owns IT risk at the board level. Second, review your IT strategy every year. Last year's plan does not reflect this year's threats. Third, treat the IT to OT boundary as a governance problem, not a technical one. Fourth, do not confuse having policies with having governance. And finally, put cybersecurity in your board reporting. Boards cannot govern what they cannot see. IT governance is Control A.1 of 38. I am walking through every single one with the breach that proves why it matters every week at marcoweb.org. Subscribe to get them in your inbox, and try the free ITGC audit tool to assess your own controls.